track of things on Twitch. Nice to be able to have all the new subscribers on there. And granted, not a lot, but nice to have someone on there subscribing as well. And thanks to everybody on YouTube for tuning in. Been getting a lot more people in and around the area watching on the YouTube channel. We are live and direct on YouTube as much as we possibly can for the News 12. Again, that's WDEF News 12 for the YouTube channel there. For those of you just tuning in, we're just getting going. It's a little bit past our usual start time of 9:45. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. It is Friday night, and we are looking for a spectacular weekend coming up. No problems whatsoever from what it looks like for right now, but we will be looking at the potential for some problems coming up as we get into and around the area of Monday. And then for the rest of the week, we see the potential of some more scattered showers coming on through. That, again, could be a little bit of a problem, to say the least, for the eclipse. Now, hopefully, again, things do not pan out quite as bad as we're looking for them for right now, but it is going to be a lot worse conditions, I think, than what we saw in 2017, and that, again, could be a problem for most of the area into the rest of the forecast, to where we see the possibility of more rain throughout the course of the next several days next week, and that could spell some problems for outdoor activities. For right now, again, I don't think we're looking at too much of a concern. So far, the good news at this time is we're not seeing anything, according to the Storm Prediction Center, where it comes to anything involving severe weather, so that's good news. But we're going to be watching very carefully as this storm system gets just a little bit closer to us. So for Monday, that could be a bit of a concern. And then for the rest of next week, it looks like everything just kind of hovers around down to our south where it comes to any severe weather threats out there. So for right now, not a huge concern, but it is something we definitely need to keep an eye on. So keep attuned to News 12 for more on that, and we'll keep you advised as we go into Monday and beyond. Let's go ahead and get going and show you a little bit more about what's happening. We got kind of crunched last night, so we did not feature everything. So we'd like to bring up, first of all, our Langley Roofing weather picture of the day. That from Angel Miller Harrison, catching a double rainbow in the Ottawa area around the Circle K, and looking out over the boulevard there. Thanks a lot, Ms. Harrison, for a beautiful picture. Great way to finish up the week. If you've got pictures, we would love to be able to see what you're looking at out there, and in fact to show everybody else. So the best thing you can do, brand new way of doing this, in case you may have not have seen it just yet, you can give the information, you can send it to the pictures that we can feature for the picture of the day. You can drop them to our social media pages in the comments section. You can email them to us at pictures@wdef.com, or if you would like to, you can go to facebook.com / WDEF News 12, or our website WDEF News 12 WDEF.com /photos. Great opportunity, neat page, because you can both submit your pictures and see what everybody else has been posting. So drop by, take a look. Be glad to have you along for some of those pictures out there, so stay tuned again for a lot more. We're behind on rainfall now by about 2/3 of an inch for the month, and about an inch, almost 0.2 for the year, so we could definitely use some more rain. That's going to be coming up in the next few days. Normal high temperatures for this time of the year back in the lower 70s, and we only managed to make 60 degrees, and that was only for about an hour or two at best. Low temperature this morning, 39, and again, that is well below our normal low, but very close to our record low temperature, which hasn't been broken since 1881. So neat to be able to see some of those statistics going on there, and more information available from the National Weather Services in your particular area. Out and about this weekend, catching a fish, taking a hike, whatever it is you're going to be doing. Should be beautiful conditions out there. Mid-60s, a little bit warmer than today, but still just a bit on the cool side, and winds occasionally breezy, but not doing too bad. Likewise, if you're heading out for a round of golf, we've got some very nice conditions. not too bad of a breeze, but could be a bit of a slice or a hook going on. And then we see, again, some very mild temperatures out there. So jacket for that breeze would not be such a bad idea. Temperatures right now a bit on the brisk side for the 10 o'clock hour, coming right up on 10 o'clock in a few minutes. Mid to upper 40s to lower 50s across much of the News 12 viewing area. And then also looking out over the area back to the north of us, the really cold air underneath that cloud cover that has been moving on through. And that will probably be sticking around as we go into the rest of the evening. We also have the potential of some frost across the area again tonight. We'll talk more about that in just a little while. We did have a lot of clouds wrapping around the backside of this storm system. This area of low pressure, which tracked across the area earlier this week, gave us the threat of severe weather. A lot of the clouds are still in place over portions of the southeast United States. You can see that very clearly here. This whole system is melded together to become this giant nor'easter, picking winds up and taking the moisture off the Atlantic and dropping it into Canada and areas of New England. Still some snow showers and some lake effect snow and sleet coming down across portions of the eastern Great Lakes, back toward western New York State and all the way back into around Maine, Massachusetts, Vermont, back around New Hampshire. A lot of activity going on there. Now, our next storm system, that's going to be heading our direction into the next day or so. We'll line that up for you coming up here in just a little bit. Take a look outside on our EPB fiber optics weather cam network. Island Cove very much on the quiet side for right now. Looking toward downtown, we'll go back to Island Cove in a minute for our 7-day forecast. A little windy out there tonight, not quite as breezy as it was earlier on. And looking back to the east, where hopefully tomorrow there will be a decent sunshine coming up for dawn patrol. Bailey's Heating and Air Camera over portions of downtown Chattanooga. From Lee Point, 153 and 64 highway. Traffic heavy for a Friday night, but moving along pretty well. Traffic was a decent snarl earlier, but as of right now, everything is heavy traffic at 2475 from the Tomahawk crane and rigging camera. That, again, is where we see some very quiet and dry conditions for now. So we do have, again, the possibility of less in the way of rainfall for tonight, but if you got outdoor plans, at least you won't have to worry about too much about driving. All these cameras available on the EPB Fiber Optics Weather Cam Network. From Patriot Concrete Camera, looking back across the area up towards Signal Mountain. Good visibility, clear, dry conditions for tonight, and also seeing, again, not too much to worry about in the way of problems for this evening, but that may be changing as we go into the next few days. I want to thank our engineering staff. The Chattanooga Zoo camera suffered a major fault, but it is now back up and working. Mostly cloudy skies all the way back toward the north and to the east. So we do see, again, some potential problems from just cloud cover tonight if you're doing some stargazing and whatnot. But beyond that, everything looking pretty good at this time. And last but not least, from the Chattanooga Theater Center, downtown from the North Shore, lots of folks out and about earlier, a few folks on the footbridge tonight and down toward Coolidge Park. We do have, again, very cool numbers. We're back almost into the 40s, and winds still pretty fresh, north-northwest at about 10 miles per hour. So we've got a nice evening coming up, and hopefully, again, it'll stay that way. Here's what we're looking for as we get into tonight. We've got the potential for more precipitation coming our way, but not until the end of the weekend. So we've got, for right now, our last storm system out of here to the east, winds bringing some clouds back around there. High pressure over the Gulf. That's cutting the Gulf off from sending any moisture northward, but we are also seeing our next storm system well back to the west of us. Now, two things happening here. Number one, air around high pressure in the northern hemisphere rotating clockwise, so this will be pushing more moisture up this direction. And then the warm front arrives as we go into early Monday morning, late Sunday. This is the next storm system here. That's going to be making its way a little bit closer toward us as we get into the weekend, but it's kind of stuck over the Rockies for for right now. Here's the way this is going to pan out, and this is what we see for both the weekend and next week. Early Saturday morning, frosty. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, and mostly clear skies coming up. Back into the 60s for the most part. On Saturday, the computer is showing a few 50s out there because of the cloud cover. I think it's going to be much warmer tomorrow, especially as the winds turn back out of the south. Sunday morning, our next front arrives, the warm front out in advance of the cold front. That starts to set up into the area about 24 hours before the eclipse totality happens. And then as we get into Monday morning, very early, that front is knocking on our door. Showers and maybe the potential of some thunderstorms out there, kind of an iffy one, but still a possibility. And then for about the time frame of totality, which will be 3 o'clock, just about in that area Eastern time for the Chattanooga News 12 viewing area, that is where we'll see some mild temperatures, unfortunately, some decent amounts of cloud cover, and the potential for rain showers. Now, that being said, I do not see anything at this time that says we're going to be totally clouded over and the eclipse is a washout. I don't think that's going to be happening. I do think, however, that we're going to be seeing a lot more clouds out there, and so we may not see entirely all of the sun, but we will get at least hopefully some glimpses of it. But latest round of computer models are showing 50 to 60% coverage of clouds. Chances of rain, not great, but they will be with us through the entire day. So hopefully we'll get some views of the sun as the eclipse goes over. I'm really hopeful this is not going to be a total overcast situation, but we'll be keeping an eye on that to be certain. Now through Monday evening and into Tuesday morning, next part of that storm system arrives, and this one brings in better chances of rain and the potential of thunderstorms. The best potential of severe weather will be well back to our west, and by late Tuesday morning, more widespread chances of showers and maybe some thunderstorms in there as well. But the severe weather to the west, not a big problem for us here. So again, I think we're doing relatively okay on that. Now for tonight, got plants outdoors. Light purple is a frost advisory. Patchy frost possible, but again, more areas just hit or miss where it comes to the potential of frost. Darker purple is a freeze warning. That is going to be colder temperatures, especially in the higher elevations back toward the plateau and into the Appalachians. That's where we see, again, the worst possibility of frost and the more widespread, heavier frost potential in the darker purple shaded counties. That includes Fannin County, Georgia, Cherokee County, North Carolina, southeastern Polk County in Tennessee, Bledsoe and Sequatchie counties in Tennessee for that heavier freeze warning. So please keep that in mind if you have any plants outdoors, and go ahead and cover them up or bring them indoors if you possibly can. Let's go ahead and do our 7-day real quick and give you an idea as to what we are looking at out there. And again, from our Island Cove Marina and Resort camera, a lot of ground lights coming up, a lot of sky shine there reflecting off the underside of those clouds as that wraps around that area of low pressure, that nor'easter that we've got well back to our north and east. We see again patchy frost tomorrow, but a beautiful weekend coming up, looking absolutely excellent there. Then we show for Eclipse Day the potential of showers and thunderstorms possible. Less potential here, more potential coming up on Tuesday. And then Wednesday and Thursday, this looks to be, unfortunately, a pretty soggy week. Chances of showers will go right up to about dawn patrol on Friday morning. And then, in spectacular bad timing, we get back to some sunshine with this very busy outdoor week coming up. The Chattanooga Lookouts first home game is this Tuesday. Right now, kind of even money as to whether or not we may have a rain delay or a rain out, depending on what goes on, and that may continue for the rest of the week at this point. So hopefully that's not the case. Keep it tuned to News 12. We'll let you know a little bit more about that. And again, hopefully the Lookouts return to some better weather. Really looking forward to baseball season. This is not the way I anticipated things really hitting off for baseball season this time around. So again, that will be kind of nice to get back out for a good baseball game. All right, last night did not have a chance to talk about a couple of things. Number one, wanted to introduce again our poll for the day, and this is available at WDEF.com/vote now. We have news, sports, and weather questions on there. Well, it's weather/science, and there's only so many weather questions available outside of just guessing what the high or the low temperature of the day was. So friendinroofing.com, thank you very much for being our sponsor on this. The question of the day, the three major cities, and yes, that should be a greater than symbol instead of less than. Population over 100,000. The three major cities that get the most snowfall are all in which country? The United States, Japan, Canada, or Russia? Canada took 1/2 of the votes today, so kind of neat to be able to see that happening. But it was actually Japan that has the three snowiest cities with a population count over 100,000. So nice to be able to see that. That took 30% of the vote. Russia took 20, and the United States did not get any votes on that. So thank you very much to those who voted in our WDEF.com/vote now weather question of the day. This one brought to you by friendinroofing.com. So thanks for participating. This is something that I wanted to show you last night, and we just barely got it in before we had to do some recording in the studio at 10 o'clock, which we usually do on Thursday, and I should have realized that, unfortunately. But this is a picture of what the conditions look like over the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the Atlantic. What does this have to do with anything? I'll tell you in just a second, because these temperatures that you're looking at here, especially with that loop current going through portions of the Gulf of Mexico, these temperatures out into the Atlantic and over portions of the Western Atlantic and the Caribbean especially, these temperatures are comparable to what we would see in these areas during mid-July. This is exceptionally bad news. This means that, again, if conditions are correct and we have a decent amount of warm-up, it usually takes the oceans a lot of time to warm up from April, May, even into June and July. You have to wait for the sun to heat the ocean up in and around this zone. But now, because the oceans are absorbing all the extra heat from climate change, human-induced fossil fuel-caused climate change, that is something that is exceptionally worrisome, because if the oceans are this warm this early and don't get a chance to cool off and dispel some of that heat through those currents that go through portions of the ocean, then what does that mean for hurricane season? Well, for right now, that is, again, no good news for us at this point in time. You might have heard about this on other media channels, but this is something to really take a look at. The Colorado State and their Tropical Weather Prediction Center takes a look and issues a forecast in April, about this time of the year, to take a look at what may be happening. Now, the average in the center column, their prediction in the right-hand column. So for named storms, tropical storms, and hurricanes, a total of storms average between 91 and 2020, give or take about a 30-year average somewhere in there. Again, about 14.4. This year is forecast to be 23 named storms. So it's a good possibility we may go through the entire alphabet like we did back in 2005 and once again just a couple of years ago. Hurricanes average on a 30-year period, 7.2. This year, expected to be around 11 for the 24 season. Major hurricanes are hurricanes that reach Category 3 and above. So looking at an average of 3.2, this year expecting almost twice that much. And then as we get into the end part of the forecast, ACE, or accumulated cyclone energy, the energy available to a storm over a certain section of the ocean that can help develop the storm, that shows it's a pretty good number to take a look and see just what is available to it when it comes to both instability, the amount of energy that gets supplied by sun and also from the heat of the ocean, all that coming together to give you the available convective energy for a cyclone to develop. usually during 91 to 2020, 30-year average, that number's about 123. This year, not quite twice on all of these, but basically for all intents and purposes, very close to being doubled. And that means we could see a very active and dangerous hurricane season in the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the Atlantic. And there's a lot of what I've seen from analysis by experts in the last few days. They're saying that especially with the Caribbean, as warm as it is, a lot of storms could form here. If the winds are in the right position, that could make those storms travel to the Gulf. And then if you've got anything going on in the Gulf of Mexico from the Keys back to Brownsville, you could be seeing a very short timeline where it comes to seeking shelter and getting out of the way of these particular storms. So for right now, this is, again, some incredibly bad news. It's not anything to panic over. It is something to take action about. If you are going to be vacationing this year anywhere close to the beach, pay attention to the forecast. Be ready to move out as soon as possible, because if a storm threatens a particular area, especially when it comes to short notice where a storm veers or backs off one direction or another and deepens very quickly, like we saw with, I believe it was the hurricane around Cancun last year that went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 in about a 24-hour time frame. If that starts happening again, you're going to have to get out of the way very quickly anywhere in the path of this storm. And even if they don't activate counterflow where they open up highways both north and southbound in some areas to get people out of the way, traveling the same direction to get more people out and going away from the storm, even if that doesn't happen, you're going to have precious little time to get going. This is, again, not, I won't specifically say this is a nightmare scenario, but this is a very bad situation that we're going into. It may be, again, a very warm series of days over the next several days and weeks. Hurricane season doesn't even start for 2 months almost. And right now we're looking at a very ugly situation out there, is because this is what we could be seeing as a dangerous situation shaping up. And again, paying attention to the forecast, and when the authorities and the forecast says you need to evacuate an area, you got to get out, you got to go. You got to get out of the way of that storm. Even if it's a Category 1, you don't want to be stuck someplace where you might be waiting for days or weeks for debris to be cleared for you to get back to wherever you came from. So this is something to really watch out for. What does this mean for us in the Chattanooga area? Specifically, again, we're not on the coast, so we're not seeing a major danger. We could see stronger storms maybe make their way up farther our direction and bring more wind, more damage, more rain, and maybe more tornadoes. Because of that, if those storms form and stay together longer, that could be a very big potential problem. So this is something that, again, we're really going to have to watch out for in the course of the next several days. Let's take a look real quick, again, as a combination look from the News 12 viewing area, southeastern areas of the United States. That 4.8 earthquake earlier this morning was not alone. It was also preceded by a few hours on the New Madrid Fault by a 2.4 earthquake. Now, we didn't feel either one of those in the area. Now, you might have seen a couple of days ago where we talked about the earthquake in Taiwan making its way through our location, the energy passed on through, and thanking again the University of Memphis Center for Earthquake Research and Information, thanking them for sending along the details about this. The earthquake, all these lines are 15-minute increments divided by these vertical lines here. So from 1423Z, that was about 7:23 our time, the earthquake happened along that red line right there at about 7:23. And then right there, that little bit of red squiggle, not the blue one, but the red one, that might have been an aftershock, but I'm not sure. Some of the energy of that earthquake moved through this part of the country, and there are a network of seismic stations all over this part of the United States, mainly to monitor the New Madrid Fault. but also come in handy for things like this. And what you're looking at is the seismic station from Sewanee, Tennessee, just outside of the News 12 viewing area. So even this far away and even this small of an earthquake, it was able to be detected, not felt by humans, but it was able to be detected by very sensitive seismographs out there called helicorders. If you've never, seen those before, so neat to be able to take a look at that. Let me just see if I can find it back real quick. I know I had it here somewhere. Just hang on. I had the graphic here talking about the what happened from the Taiwan earthquake. It looks like I might have deleted that already, which is surprising because I never do that before. I think I'm totally done with something of that nature. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like it might have been. Oh, nope, here we go. Okay, this is what it looked like here. The lines are very straight going across here, and this happened April 2nd, a couple days ago. This was Tuesday. The earthquake happened in Taiwan, our time, at 7:58 p.m. Eastern time, down around that green line right there. And then you see the black line underneath it. That's another 15 minutes. And then right at about just past, midnight? Let's see, 7:58, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and that would have been about 8 o'clock, 8:15, give or take, about 10, 15 minutes later. Notice the red line gets really violent, up and down, squiggly, and the rest of that happens. That's the helicorder at Signal Mountain, Tennessee. That's the helicorder recording the energy from the earthquake. This big of an earthquake causes the skin of the earth, the crust of the earth, to basically vibrate like a ringing bell, and that energy passes on through. So that's really kind of neat to be able to see that. Now, granted, this is not weather information, but being a science geek, it's always nice to be able to share information like that with everybody. So kind of neat to be able to see this. Again, thanks to U of M Surrey for having these helicorders available. Nice to be able to see that stuff on there. Think that's going to do it for tonight. We don't have a lot going on into, again, the weekend. The weekend looks absolutely excellent, but it's going to be next week where we're going to have to watch out for the potential of more areas of rainfall coming up, and that could be a problem for the eclipse. We'll be watching that with a lot of interest, again, through the weekend, so hopefully we'll bring you some better news coming up as we go toward Monday or so. We've been on for about 30 minutes. That's not too bad for us for tonight, so nice to be able to see what's going on there. Questions, concerns, ideas, if you're on Twitch or on YouTube, email address is right here at aonic@wdef.com, and our website, again, wdef.com/weather is our homepage for more details as to what is going on there. So drop by our website for both repeats of this weather blog. You can also watch us live on air. We'll have more details on your forecast coming up tonight on News 12 at 11. And meteorologist Todd Heislip will be here Saturday and Sunday to give you an update as to what's going on with the forecast through the weekend hours. So stay tuned for Mr. Todd's updates late Saturday and late Sunday. And, of course, we'll have special coverage coming up as we go into Monday for the eclipse coming our direction. Outside of that, hope you have a great weekend, a safe one as well. Please, let's be careful out there. And again, we'll see for more information as to what's going on. Stay tuned for more with News 12, and we'll keep you advised as to what is happening through the rest of the weekend out there. Thanks for joining us on YouTube and Twitch TV, and we'll have more again through the weekend at our website, and more coming up later this next week. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onick. Stay tuned for much more with News 12 throughout the rest of the weekend, and we'll see you back here again on